Alright, how's it going guys? It's your boy Kanji FP and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the underwhelming England performance throughout the Euro so far. We've only been one game in, but I can tell you in advance, I have no belief in Gareth Southgate, and I'm genuinely more of a doubter than I am a believer, even though when I'm looking at the England 11, it's probably the best in the entire tournament. I mean, think about it. You've got the Premier League player of the season starting in the left wing position in Phil Foden. Then you've got the Bundesliga top goal scorer in Harry Kane. Then you've got Arsenal star boy on the right wing, genuinely one of the best right wings in all of world football. And then you've got Jude Bellingham, the La Liga player of the season, starting in the cam position. Like those front four alone, that's mouth-watering. Yet in the first game, they put up less than 1 XG in the match. How is that even possible? Well, to me, I just feel like there are three major issues with Southgate's England. The first is that he persists with this negative system. He wants to be playing this three in midfield with 2 defensive mids and then 1 attacking mid on top. And Jude Bellingham's absolutely locked in the central attacking mid position, not only for his creativity and attacking threat going forward, but also his work rate defensively. And then he has Declan Rice, who is the obvious perfect defensive midfielder. He's been doing a great job for Arsenal. That's why they've kept so many clean sheets. It's not just Saliba and Gabriel, it's what Declan Rice can do, the amount of recoveries and ground that he covers. That's why he's so pivotal for the system. The issue for Southgate is that he has 3 options in that last midfield spot. He has Conor Gallagher for Chelsea, and then the young star in Kobbie Mainoo, who plays for Manchester United, and then probably the better player and the more decorated player in Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's the option that he's persisting to play alongside Declan Rice. And we've seen this because in the 6 qualifying games for England in the qualifiers leading up to the Euros, Trent actually started in 5 of them, and 4 of them were actually in midfield. So Southgate is really trying to get Trent to play in that position. In fact, when you looked at the first game, Trent was on all the set pieces, direct free kicks, indirect free kicks, as well as the corners on the right-hand side. So it just shows you the amount of belief that Southgate has in Trent, that when he plays, he's on all the set pieces. And that's saying a lot when you've got Saka and Trippier within the squad. So I feel like the issue with playing Trent in the 8 is that he has to play more like Toni Kroos than he can play like Dani Alves. And we've seen Trent, he excels in the right half spaces of the pitch. The issue is that he isn't given the freedom and the license to push forward because he has somebody like Kieran Trippier in the defense. On top of that, if you want to be playing Trent, one of his best characteristics is his long-range passing. He can play balls over the top into players that he does for Liverpool, where he has Luis Diaz always hogging the touchline, as well as the switch of play that he does to Andy Robertson consistently. So that way, Robertson and Luis Diaz can always be attacking into the open space on the opposite wing that Trent is on. And I feel like the issue is that the system itself is very negative. If you're playing 2 center defensive mids and 1 center attacking mid, you need that left winger to be hogging the touchline. Now, I don't want to be bashing Phil Foden, but judging Phil Foden based on the way that he's playing in a left wing position is like judging a fish based on its ability to climb. It doesn't really make sense. Foden is a right winger. He gets a lot of his chances in the Premier League from scoring goals from outside the box. He's an XG overperformer, but he can't really play in the right wing position because that's Saka's spot. He can't play in the 10 position because that's Jude Bellingham's spot. So the first issue is that Southgate is kind of playing this negative system, and the second issue that goes alongside this is that he's playing square pegs and round holes. If you want to persist with this formation, you need to be playing an out-and-out left winger that's going to be going behind Harry Kane. So that way you can unlock Harry Kane's ability of his passing. In fact, in the first half, Kane only had 2 touches. How does that make sense? Harry Kane is one of the best strikers in all of world football. Not only is he an XG overperformer in terms of getting maybe 3 XG and scoring 4 goals, but his passing is what makes him so elite in the striker position, especially at his age now where he's sort of lost a yard of pace. But Kane's never really been the paciest striker anyways. He's always been clinical and very effective in terms of his finishing as well as his passing. Now, if you don't have a winger that's running in behind, you're sort of stagnating the team chemistry that England can have. So by playing somebody like Phil Foden on the left wing, it's kind of like you're playing Phil Foden at a 70% of his potential. And in my opinion, I do feel like Anthony Gordon at 100% or Eberechi Eze at 100% are better players than Phil Foden at 70%. I feel like the players that Southgate has actually brought into the team aren't good enough. The one position that I'm very disappointed in Southgate is the left back position. The fact he's starting Kieran Trippier in the left back spot. Trippier is not a good one-on-one defender. He's going to get absolutely cooked by a right winger that's going to be going and attacking him, especially because I don't feel like Phil Foden is as good as Bukayo Saka in terms of protecting his wing back. Whenever England were trying to create on the left-hand side, Trippier isn't really bombing on the touchline and overlapping Phil Foden and putting crosses into the box with his left foot. He just has a natural tendency to want to cut back on his right foot. And Phil Foden wants to be cutting in from that left wing position because that's where he can be successful. But Trippier isn't really hogging the touchline like a natural left wing back would. That's why I'm very disappointed that he didn't bring players like Tariq Mitchell from Crystal Palace or even Alfie Doughty, who could have been really important key cogs for the system that Southgate is trying to employ. If you want to be playing Trent in that position and you want to be playing a left winger and a left back in that position, you need to be playing players that are natural fits in those positions. So not only is he playing a negative system where I feel like he should be playing two attacking mids, but he's playing two defensive mids. On top of that, he's playing square pegs in round holes, playing somebody like Kieran Trippier at left back and Phil Foden at left wing, where they can't really be the 100% version of themselves in those positions. I do feel like Gareth Southgate doesn't have the ability to manage the egos within the team. If he had the guts, I feel like what he would do is have a conversation with Phil Foden and be like, hey bro, I know you're the player of the season in the Premier League, but when we're looking at the England 11, you unfortunately can't make it. I know that you're technically gifted, but you're just not going to be good enough to start in this team. And I just feel like that would be the best for the England 11. But what Southgate is doing is that he's just succumbing to the egos within the squad. Phil Foden is easily one of the best players in the entire team. So what he's going to do is he's going to put the square peg in the round hole, put him at the left wing. He's going to be playing Trippier out of position because he doesn't really trust Luke Shaw because he hasn't had enough minutes this season. So why is he even in the squad? Another low-key reason, and I do feel like it could be a dark horse factor, and probably not the main reason why I feel like England won't win, but it could be having an impact on the players, is actually the impact that the media has on the players within the team. And I mean this in two senses. I do feel like that the British media has a racial undertone within the articles that are published all the time. Whenever England are winning a game, you'll see maybe players like Phil Foden or Harry Kane on the face of those articles. And when things don't go well, you'll see players like Mark Gahey or Bukayo Saka or Marcus Rashford that are on the faces of those types of news articles. And I just feel like a lot of African American players that play for England are always getting the blame whenever things go wrong. The next thing I want to mention alongside this is that the media itself is building up this English team to have very, very high expectations. And I feel like a lot of players, maybe when they play, are afraid to express themselves because if they take a risk and they make a mistake, they'll be crucified because every single player is like over scrutinized and over analyzed because of the amount of pressure that the media and the country has on these players. So I do feel like that could be a mitigating factor in terms of why I feel like the England players may not reach their potential, but I do feel like the impact that Southgate is having more of a negative impact than what I think the media's presence is having on the players. But it's not all going to be negatives and doom and gloom about Southgate. I do want to mention one positive thing about him, and it's the fact that he has changed the culture within the English team. And I do feel that in previous generations, it was more clique-based, where you'd see Manchester United players sitting together, and then the Liverpool players would be on the other table. At this point in time, in this current generation, I do feel like there's just more unity. Regardless of which club team you play for, I do feel like they're all united. However, that off-the-field chemistry is incredible, and it's much better than it was in previous seasons, but that off-the-field chemistry is not actually being displayed on the pitch. And I do feel like Southgate is to blame in terms of creating a better culture, and he takes responsibility for that, and I want to give him the credit for that. But the chemistry on the pitch that I feel like should be there and that is lacking, I think Southgate deserves that blame as well. So to me, I just feel like three major issues. One, negative system when we have too much attacking quality and we're not creating enough XG. The second thing is that he's fitting square pegs into round holes. So he's playing Foden and Trippier at a position, and he doesn't have the ability to manage the egos appropriately in order for England to meet their maximum potential. And that's why, with those three reasons, that's why I just feel like England are not going to be winning the Euros. And listen, I'm from Toronto, I'm from Canada. I'm trying my best to be as neutral as possible. You know, my parents are from Tanzania and then probably from India before that. So I don't really have many ties to England or any European nation. So I'm very unbiased, although I watch so much Premier League football that I'm, of course, rooting for the players like Saka and Foden, who I love to watch on a weekly basis when the Premier League season is going on. But to me, it's just disappointing to see that so many quality players can just perform and create these underwhelming performances for England on a consistent basis. The issue is that England is not creating enough XG. And what happens in football is that there's going to be games where you're only creating 1.0 XG and you're not scoring the goal. And someone else on the other team is going to create 0.2 XG and score that goal. And England are going to get knocked out of the tournament. And it'll be an upset. And at this point, it doesn't really surprise us. Like, this is the type of thing that I've grown accustomed to. I'm prepared for, because this is what Southgate ball is all about. It's all about protecting the clean sheet and scoring in the few moments that you can create. And to me, I just feel like that isn't the right usage of the players that we have within this 11. And because of that, I do feel like England are not going to be winning the Euros. My apologies if I was a little bit harsh there on Southgate, but I mean, to me, I think you just have to look yourself in the mirror sometimes and ask yourself the tough questions. And I feel like Southgate hasn't done that well enough with this team. And because of that, even though England have one of the best 11s in all of world football, I think they will fall short. So I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but let me know in the comment section down below. By the way, I'm going to be releasing 2 more videos coming up over the next couple weeks. The first is going to be me predicting what I think FPL should be pricing the players at for next season, as well as what I think the prices are going to be. And then the next video I'm going to be doing is actually going to be doing a deep dive into the fixtures that are actually going to be being released on June 18th, which is actually tomorrow, because I'm filming this video on the Monday. So that'll just give you some ideas of things to look forward to. And if I provided some value to over the course of this video, please just drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.